Hi, I'm Cherie, founder of Be Kind to All. I believe that all employees deserve to be treated as equal, and I believe that discrimination, no matter what the reason, can no longer be tolerated in business. I worked for a Fortune 10 company for 15 years. I was told by my management and human resources not to discuss my salary, yet men were discussing theirs in the hallways. I was told to not worry about pay grades or pay scales because they're fair. Yet year after year, I saw men getting promoted into jobs where women and people of color made less money than the man who just got promoted. This is how corporate America works. We all know it. We now need to face the fact. If you talk to your management or human resources about the salary differences, they try to gaslight you into believing you heard wrong so that you'll stop asking questions. Or they harass and threaten you, telling you to quit and go find a new job because you're overreacting. So, funny story. In my last job in Atlanta, I found everyone's salary on the printer and I took it back to the person who it belonged to, I thought. So they knew I had seen everybody's salaries, and I knew at that point that I was right, yet again. But HR management still did nothing to right the inequality. So, in 2015, the United Nations came to the United States, and they documented their concerns for the lack of gender equality in the United States and how the U.S. is lagging far behind international human rights standards. The U.S. has a lot of work to do, and it's time we stop skirting this issue. There is a pay gap in the United States, and corporations and government are doing nothing to fix it. In the United States, we are not proactive, and businesses have allowed the pay gap to continue. Businesses are not required to prove they are following the law. It is up to the individual to report the issue so that it can be investigated. Why, if the U.S. has a law on equal pay, is it so hard to actually pay people the same? Research estimates this pay gap to be anywhere between 10 to 30%. So how do pay gaps continue to occur? Human resources and management allows and continues bad practices. They see everyone's salaries on their team, so they know it's an issue. Salary audits are non-existent and or not public. Of course, there is still racism, sexism, misogyny. You have management and HR telling you not to talk about your salary, which, by the way, is illegal. Bonuses are not equally distributed. And for management, there are large pay grades or pay scales for each title, sometimes $50,000 to $75,000. These are the tricks they use to get away with this. President Obama had worked with the EEOC to develop regulations to address these pay disparities. This new regulation was set to go into effect in March of 2018, right now. But on August 29th, 2017, under the Trump administration, the EEOC published a memo that stated it would freeze the rule, voicing concerns that gathering pay information would place an outsized burden on the employers for little benefit. When the truth is, businesses don't want to face the discrimination they have created and allowed to continue for the past decades. Even though the United States is not doing the right thing, there are countries out there that are. Just this year, 2018, companies in Iceland are now required to demonstrate they pay men and women fairly. This new law applies to both private and public jobs. In 1963, Iceland mandated equal pay for equal work. But now in 2018, it's up to the companies to prove that their pay practices are fair, not the employee. So, it is now time we move to radical transparency. It is time to be brave and discuss these pay gaps. If we remain silent, nothing is going to change. Keeping our mouths shut is what got us here. So why not try a new approach? I believe that radical transparency and the truth is the key to the change we need. We can start to hold the courageous conversations that are needed to move us forward. Are you ready to be part of this change? We need to stand up and talk about our salaries, our bonus, our ratings with our peers. I know it will be hard, but we can do this. We need to ask our human resource department and management for a public salary audit to prove that all people, including women and people of color, are being paid the same wage for the same work. For a public hierarchy document that shows how many women and people of color are in the different positions within the company. And you want them to investigate and publish if gender bias, racism, and sexism affects yearly evaluations for women and people of color. Now I know this sounds like a lot, but it all starts with one step. At Salesforce, their CEO, Mark Benioff, is dedicated to closing the gender pay gap. The company is so dedicated to remove the pay gap, they've conducted 2 separate assessments, 2015 and 2017, to find out if they need to adjust pay. They found both times that they needed to spend $3 million to eliminate these differences in pay. And they did it. Looking into the future, they're going to continue to monitor these type of pay gaps. Imagine if your company was this proactive. Next week, we will continue on our journey for the business case for kindness. Please remember, without kindness and respect, there's little trust, and without trust, the team will crumble. I hope you guys have a great week. Bye.